Their children go abroad and then they settle abroad.
There were always advantages and there were disadvantages.
It was a passion which is very important when you are running a business.
Are you actually letting go or you're still involved?
90% of the companies in inbound tourism are family individual run companies.
Things are changing. वो लाला कंपनी खत्म हो गया.
As the second generation steps into the world of travel and tourism, a quiet but crucial question sits in the background. What happens next? In this special feature on succession planning for family-run travel businesses, we explore the choices that every legacy brand eventually faces. This conversation goes straight to the heart of what it means to build, protect, and hand over a legacy. Find out more in this Trav Talk Think Tank.
It's not just concerning a travel agency, but every business. And there are family-run businesses, very big family-run businesses all over the world. And as long as they have a succession plan, right? Family-run businesses can always succeed and are many ways better than, particularly in the service industry, than businesses that are run by big corporations or big, As far as my business is concerned, I started this business from a scratch. And I've seen, I'm myself a professional, I'm a gold medalist from Sri Ram College, I'm an MBA. And so I have been since beginning trying to run the business on professional lines. Even when we were very small, with 15 or 20 people, we used to have a meeting every Saturday and take decisions, what you call participative management, which now is being done by various departments all over. I always wanted to study abroad in Harvard or somewhere, but my father couldn't afford it. But when my children finished their graduation, I gave them an option that they have the right to choose any university anywhere in the world. I said, my father couldn't afford, but your father can afford it. So you should go wherever you want to. But both my daughters, they decided to do their post-graduation, their MBAs in India only. And what motivated them, what I think is the following. A lot of credit goes to my wife, their mother, because she's been a teacher and she understands child psychology very well. What we used to do is, during the summer vacations in school, we used to give the children pocket money for coming to the office and doing some work in the office. Those days they had to fill up the P forms or fill up the, encashment certificates and all those paperwork. And whatever time they spent in the office, they were given a cash incentive. With the result, they got involved in the business. And when they had the option of going abroad, they preferred to be here and support the father's business. So that is one thing which I will advise all family-run businesses to do, because the biggest tragedy of family-run businesses, I'm not talking about the travel business, but I've seen in many, big companies, their children go abroad and then they settle abroad. With the result, the both old elderly parents are suffering and there's no one even to take care of them.
When owners are running the company, and for example, if a person starts a company, like I started a company after being a professional in the trade for about 5-8 years, and then I started a company and I could scale it up. But there always was a challenge of running a company by an independent entrepreneur in our age, because we transformed from what's called a first booking of a telex to a fax to WhatsApps and to complete this entire internet digital revolution. And there were always advantages and there were disadvantages. So a lot of advantages is that you could make your quick decisions. You didn't have to really go and ask anybody anything. A lot of decisions were based on instinct. A lot of decisions that were based on instinct went wrong also, where you realized, okay, there should have been a professional advice taken at times. And I can quote many instances where I feel that as an entrepreneur, when I took decisions and I made decisions, some of them that went wrong could have been right had I taken professional advice, or there was professional advice available. And I'm not saying that I'm a professional, because I'm an MBA and I came from, and I started as a management trainee with AK Dave and Associates.
You worked with so many different companies.
I worked
You go
with
back
three
many
different
years.
companies.
I'm aware
I
about
worked with the
that.
companies that were setting their shop in India, from Choice Hotels to
Correct.
Best Western to Howard Johnson. But I'll tell you, if I want to give a take, I'll say there are advantages and there are disadvantages. It's up to you to decide. But you need to professionalize and corporatize your setup at some point of time.
This is a great topic. It's very close to my heart. With my 30 years of professional experience, I started my career with a individual entrepreneur-owned organization which transitioned into a multinational company. So I have kind of lived through that succession of ownership and succession of leadership. I was trying to listen to you carefully when you said the world is changing and the world has changed very rapidly. What has been observed in the industry, travel industry especially, travel has become extremely complex. It is fascinating. People still see it with a very different pair of lens. But the organizers, the whole people who run the independent companies, or even in the professional setup, the whole organization is so complex today, and with the advent of AI and Gen AI and automation and digitization across the airports and all the touch points that we see, I think there's a lot more organization, lot more planning, lot more depth that is required.
My family was into cloth. We were cloth merchants in Old Delhi. And I was the only son. I had 3 sisters, and my father asked me one day, what do you want to do? I said, I don't want to do this business what you are running, but I really wanted to design menswear. I wanted to become a tailor or a designer. He says, sorry, I don't have a budget for this, because we were from a very middle class thing, and I did my regular college. I was not very studious, but I made some wonderful friends in the college, and immediately after my graduation, I picked up a job. In fact, I've sold Uncle Chips on a stall, and I got a job of an accountant, whereas I was only 33 marks out of 100 but those days those were manual days. We used to maintain those sales book, ledger, and somebody was exiting and he said, beta main aapko sikha dunga kaam, it is easier. So I worked there as an accountant for a month. It was a travel company in Karol Bagh, and I took a leave for one day, and he deducted my salary. I was supposed to get 1,000, he gave me 950. So I told my mother when I went back home, I said, there was one good news and one bad news. He says, what is the bad news you tell me? I said, I've left the company because the boss doesn't trust me. I told him honestly, I'm going on a date with my girlfriend, and I did my job, everything, but I am confident now that I can pick up a job. Good part is that I was very fortunate. I don't know, he's from the industry only, Mr. Ravi Sharma. He used to work with a company called Ask Me Services. And through a reference, I got a job there. And in 90s, I learned actually sales of selling services, which was a very good experience for me for a year. Selling services in 90s was difficult. And that's how I got back in that travel company. The boss called me, the Sindhi boss, and he says, Rajan, join me. I said, I will not join as an accountant, but I would learn. I am more keen on doing visas, because one or twice I've gone to the embassy to submit some document, and I really liked the way the visa business used to be conducted during those days. I in fact used to go to Imperial Hotel, Stick Travels office. I remember you had at the entrance you had a very small office of Stick Travels. I used to go and issue tickets. I was enjoying it thoroughly. So that became a little passion in me that, I want to be in this industry. And one fine day, my friend came to me and he says, boss, I want to get married, but I am out of job, but I can do some business. I said, I have an idea, but I can't go back to my father and ask for money. He will never give me. And that's how Udan was born. So we 3 college friends started this company. But the only thing, coming back to your point, it was a passion, which is very important when you are running a business. We really had to work very hard, because we were very new, and I think IVS was a big player at that time. Indra Verma was doing a fantastic job, and but somehow we managed.
It's a natural process, because when the companies are created and they run for many years, professional is groomed in the company itself, and it is required always. And whether for succession, there is no process required. You have infrastructure like chartered companies and advocates and all those things around you. But you yourself become a person who knows what you've done, and your children have to just catch up with that and then take care of the professionals who are there already. A few years back, I saw this, and maybe some of the panelists may differ with what I'm going to say, that some of the family children would not like to join the business of parents, and they said they will do what they would like to do themselves.
Correct.
And they saw us we were going hard way, that was manual processes, and we had to wait there was tension of visas coming on time, there was tension of airlines policies. So they preferred not to come to this line, from especially family children from the families from running mid-sized travel companies. So that from there to now, children want to join travel business now. India has evolved. We can see the numbers are increasing day by day, and they have now seen the ease of business which is coming.
So you think it's genuine passion or is it your compulsion?
No, I did not tell. My son was working for a corporate company for 17 years, and then he decided to join my company. So it is definitely his choice that he has made.
We were actually grooming the elder one.
Correct.
To take over, Richa. But we found that Isha was more aggressive and more sales oriented and more hands-on. And then Richa herself said that I'm not interested in the CEO, you make her the CEO. I'm happy as on the board of as a board of directors. So basically now, what we are not taking any decision, nor me, nor my wife, although we built up the company. We are both in an advisory position, right? My job in the company is only public relations, or if there's a new project coming in, I have to discuss with her. And the final say...
You discuss with her, she discusses with you?
No, I have to discuss with her. She also discusses with me whenever she wants to.
Okay, well...
But she's free to take decisions.
Pre-COVID 2018-19 was my golden time which was going on, and we were doing exceptionally very well, and huge expansion plan, and suddenly the COVID came in, and from 300 we became only 30 people, and that was a big jolt to me, that what has happened suddenly. And there was one idea that if at all market revives and I need to see something, that I should plan some exit because this is too much of pressure on me. Second good part was that we did some business which was not from travel during COVID time, and I survived. I could survive. I was making money in COVID, which was nothing to do with travel. But I realized that there are other avenues as well where we can, if you have passion to work, it can be done. And that's how this decision took almost 2 years for me. But I took it because in my space I feel tech will rule completely, and I'm not from the tech background. If I have to lead an organization, I should know 100% fully that how the operational things work in terms of tech, which I feel that I wouldn't have done it. And there are
your children agreed with this? Because they were already working with you, right?
Yes, because good part is that they understood my decision, and they were actually very supportive of it.
In 2013, I had sold my company to Kony also, and then I bought it back in 2015. So I'll tell you what happens is, in this case, mine was a journey where the goal was set when I became an entrepreneur. For me, it was not at all a difficult decision to give away my company, because my focus was that, look, I alone cannot be a very large enterprise, but I have an ability to create a business, to build a business, and to transfer the rights of the business to somebody and then further grow that company. So my objective was very, very clear from the day one, that I am going to be acquired. Because when I started a company from 154 square foot office, which was not even owned by me, and everybody came to me and said, look, there is these giants of companies are existing, because I started in 98, 99, and they were giants, and everybody came to me and said, look, do you think that you can compete with them? And they were large companies. They are very large companies. They were medium. They were like SMEs and MSMEs at that time also. And I told them, I said, look, I don't think I can really become that large, because you need a lot of capital. You need a lot of capital in terms of financial capital, human capital, to basically build that company. But I think I'll make myself and my company and my business so relevant and admired.
So, आपको दर्द नहीं हुआ? You were emotionally, you were ready with the whole thing.
I was very happy.
I don't believe that, but okay, I'll take your word for it.
Today, a lot of people are very emotional about their company. So let's take another example. I built a company for 20 years, and today my kids don't want to be here. When I go to sell the company, how should I protect myself? What should I be aware of? What are the pitfalls I should be aware of?
Very simple.
Nikhil, let's come to that question.
It's actually a good question. Let me just tell you, because it's very important for the current date entrepreneurs who are running these small, medium scale companies.
Correct.
It's very important for them, because it's a good question. See, that is where I would say that they also need to understand that how much can they scale it up themselves. And if they cannot scale it up themselves, and they have the ability to make a difference, they should think of getting acquired or merging with an organization to do betterment for the industry, especially in the travel and tourism industry, and seek professional help through consulting to ensure what they need to give away, what they need to retain. If they make decisions themselves, in my case, I made the decision myself, and that's why I said that I should have actually been better off had I actually got consultants to come and do the deal rather than me doing the deal. But it's very important for them to figure out first within themselves psychologically whether they can make a difference within their company or they can make a difference in the entire ecosystem. And if they make a difference in the entire ecosystem, then they should be happily merging with somebody or getting acquired.
I think I'd like to touch upon a point of narrative. When you talk about succession or like change of leadership, what is the kind of narrative that you give within the organization? So it's not about the owner promoter, but it's also about the workforce. End of the day, it's your people who make the organization as well. That's where your real value. What is the narrative that you drive across the organization, across your family, or your children or your successors, and your rest of the colleagues within the organization, sets the tone. How smooth is the transition going to be, or is it going to be acceptable or not acceptable? That's how I would like to think as a professional. For me, what's most important is in most multinational professional run organizations, non-owner kind of setups, succession is every day. Every day you talk about succession. You don't talk about for over there. The succession is change of role or change of leadership. Yeah. So I think the whole thing depends on the narrative, and how is the founder able to demarcate, create a line between, create a demarcation between an emotional attachment or a professional attachment within the organization. So like Naveen mentioned, he was absolutely clear when he was trying to sell his organization. And I heard you, Rajan, you were, pre-COVID, you absolutely had no clue, you didn't want to sell the organization at all. But post-COVID, there's something happened that emotionally, motivated you to take that step. But I'd like to add just one more point. I think most very critical for owners, entrepreneurs, when they change the leadership, even if you're giving it to your own children or you're giving it to a professional run outfit, whether you're selling out or you're appointing, what is difficult I've seen across the various leaders that I've interacted is how do you let go? And I think a lot of your questions, Sanjeev, that I'm kind of trying to make influence is you're trying to poke to get an answer. How do you emotionally handle that change? Are you actually letting go, or you're still involved? While your daughter is involved in the business, she's the CEO, are you still calling the shots from behind the scene?
We are even now in the process of thinking of handing over to a professional. My daughter is very keen, but we've had a lot of offers from very big companies who wanted to buy out or take a majority stake I'll be very honest. I'm emotional about the company.
I agree.
And it's like your own baby. You built it up. And whatever the lucrative offers are, we refused. We said we can't sell our child. So it's a baby. We look at it very emotionally. And
But getting a CEO then?
fantastic offers we've got, but we refused.
The first, okay.
Now, handing over to your daughter is very easy, or your son is very easy. And by God's grace, I'm fortunate that they're doing a better job and a more professional job than I was doing. Because I'm emotionally...
I know, your children, so I understand that. But
No, I'm emotionally involved with the company. They are not that emotionally involved. They look at everything as ROI. What is the return on investment? Whether we are putting in this much manpower or this much money, what is the return we are getting? And they do a cost benefit analysis for everything. Whether we are taking a new office or we are taking a new employee, right? This employee is going to cost us this much. What is the return? I think that's a very professional and a practical way. As far as I am concerned, my job in the company is only now advisory, and basically the final decision is taken by the CEO. Now that CEO can be my daughter or it can be someone else, right? We have thought of going to the public because we have a very good name, and we would have done it if the COVID had not taken place. But during COVID, like all companies, we suffered quite a loss. But we made an emotional decision, which was a good decision. We did not ask any employee to leave.
correct.
We kept all the employees, we kept all the offices, and even though there was zero income, there are a lot of employees who left on their own. But we took care of the employees like a family. That is why we call it the stick family. And even now, even during the COVID, not only the individual worker who's working with us, but even their parents, their brothers, sisters, the insurance our company has taken covers all of them, covers the entire family.
Wonderful.
I think a good investment will be that if you have your children be in your offices while they are in schools also, to come, like he used to give incentive to his children to come and do it. That's a good idea, because that's the time when they get the taste of it and they'll make choices whether they want to join this business or not. Because if they are not interested in joining your business and you force them to do it, it's going to be a disaster. So I think the best thing is to groom them up, and they may be scared in the beginning to look at the decision being taken, but the more they keep on coming and regular, so the good time will be right from the beginning. And of course, once they are ready to join the business is the right time. Whenever after the college they want to do it, or after school they want to do it, whenever they want to join.
Is it better for them to work somewhere else professionally and then come and join the organization, or they join right from?
That depends on how the organization. Like I didn't do MBA and all. I am a science graduate, but I had a huge business at that time where my father was running, and I had all the training that was required. I think I'm much trained, more than MBA can be trained, from that company. So, similarly, if you train them right from the beginning, they get that training, and you would like to work with somebody and get more from them. It's a good idea. Like my son worked for a big corporation for 17 years.
That's really
and he's bringing in a lot of data analysis. He's bringing a lot of new technology into the company. I can see he's shifting towards the technology more and more. I get scared of it at times, but he is.
We as a parent know that what are the USP, where is the flaw in my kids, and when you're running a organization like this, you can't get in your family, and then the people who have worked so hard for you in your organization, they can't overtake them. So, like my son is an operational manager there. He's not an MD son in my organization. He's got one portfolio and he's handling that. I want him to learn from that side. So we can't get emotional that since he's my kid, he has to join and he has to become the boss. I want him to has his own struggle and reach that level. And I'm sure the kind of experience and exposure we have gained, we are always there to correct him or her.
You don't want the same experience what you want to, but you want him to learn.
Yes,
That's what
actually. And I don't want to push them that they have to do only travel. Let it be in the hospitality segment. I want them because I am also part of it. So like my elder daughter wants to start a restaurant and I'm supporting her. My second daughter has started her online marketing company and she's doing very well and I'm supporting her. Son still wants to stick to travel and let's see his expenses plan. He's too young.
When I joined this business, I did exactly what somebody like elder like Subhash ji told me. He says, "अपना वो label उतार के ना drawer में डाल दे, and then go and do everything that a travel company does so that you learn it." And I did that. I stood in the visa lines. I did the passports myself. So I learned it that way. It is better if they learn it in your organization. Your question is that they get the experience of joining. If they get it in your company, nothing like it. But if you think it will be better that he goes to Naveen and gets the thrashing of what he should be doing, do that.
When my daughter came into the business in 2013 after her production school, she had to come from a management training level. And she reached an AVP level in the company because we had already sold out to Ibix and she brought Ibix into the space of events. And now when the contractual terms got over, I didn't realize that she's got leadership in her because she had learned everything, because we used to call in our company ourselves P2P. Our designation was P2P, peon to presidents. So we used to tell everybody that we are P2P of the company, peon to president. And that's the kind of grooming that people got there. And in our company, if you see from my company, Leisure Corp, today there are more than 21 companies running professionally, successfully. The people who worked with me went out and started their enterprises. There are 21 companies running today. The combined turnover of these 21 companies today is in excess of 3,000 crores in the industry. That's the kind of contribution we have made. It was all one thing that I used to say, we are P2P, peon to president. What Sani Saab said, that we had to do everything ourselves. Having said that, now she has got a job and she's in an entrepreneur role with a very large events company as a chief creative officer. So in our company, she could not get to that leadership level. So it's about three levels. It's a promoter level. In case of our family-run companies, it's a promoter level, which in professional space becomes then leadership level. Then it is the management level or the mid-management, and then it's the workforce. So the leadership in case of professional companies and promoters in terms of promoter companies have to learn the art of let go to ensure people learn and become successful, because more than just running your business and making money, you also have an obligation of creating and giving this industry professionals. Here is a company in India which is not doing justice to its existence, and I can be very, very upright and it's a brutal truth that there is a company in India which is Stick Travels, which is an amazing company, and besides the family, I think Mr. Goyal owes a lot to the country for making this company. And here is a company which can scale up to any level. It's a products company where you have airlines and cruises and everything. And if they don't go in the professional streak, they don't need to let control go. If you see the Goenkas or the Birlas or if you see the other industry, they haven't let the entire control go, but they professionalize it by going through the IPO route. So when you do an IPO, you raise money. At the end of the day, it's hard for me to fathom that promoter controls everything because he loves the company, he loves the money. Let's be very clear.
If we create a demarcation of the ownership versus running of the organization, somebody who owns the company and somebody who runs the company, that's where the professional comes into a place. And a professional with a authority or let me say it the other way around, a professional without an authority is redundancy. You don't need a professional if you don't want to give an authority to that professional. So that's number one. Number two, you create objective, create a goal. Like I think we heard Guldeep saying, he sees his son taking that organization to a 3,000 crore in future. That's an objective, but you create a path to that. You create short-term, long-term goals, and then you create a measurement, governance, measurement metrics around it, or a governance, metric around it. How are you going to measure it? How often are you going to measure it? And within that measurement, are you a singular, authority organization, where you bring in a CEO and then you expect the CEO to, to be the guru of everything, or you create a team, a pool of, professionalism within your own organization, a party of your, a combined party of your tenured leadership to act like a SWAT.
See, up till now, any crucial decision, she still consults us, right? Any major decision, she still consults us, although the final word is hers, right? So as far as decision making is concerned, I think we are involved in all this decision making. Me and my wife and one or two other people on the board, they are involved. So, but we will not get upset, because there are certain decisions which she has taken which we didn't agree with, but those decisions have been profitable.
Put the other way, suppose they were not profitable, then what would have happened?
So that's the price. I've also made so many decisions in life which are not profitable, which are wrong. So in business, to error is human. We do make mistakes. Even if there's an outside CEO, he can make mistakes. A lot of outside CEOs make mistakes. As long as you see,
Sir, outside CEO makes mistake, you'll accept it, but your child
He gets fired.
no,
He gets fired.
no.
He gets fired.
You see, now we consider our managers, our branch managers, or our various divisions. We do give them some incentive on profits and all, and they are also like CEOs of their own branch, right? And they do make mistakes, but there are certain systems in place. They have to follow those systems. There are some reportings in place. They have to follow, and then we have independent people who are monitoring those systems. They are not involved in the day-to-day operations. They are behind the scenes, but they are able to analyze and visualize and advise them. So basically, I think as far as I am concerned, I am quite satisfied with the way things are happening. And
so what you're saying in a way is that if the children are coming in, you should professionalize the companies to a certain extent so that they can work in that framework.
Yes, yes.
That's what
not only the children, if tomorrow, let us say, if both my daughters were not interested in getting involved in the business, I had identified one or two executives in the company who we would have groomed as a CEO, right? We do not want to bring an outside CEO because he doesn't understand the I would say the character or the depth of this business. That is one. Secondly, like we have an air charter company. Now, Captain Puri is the CEO, and he has a 25% share in the profits. So he's running the company on his own, and we have absolutely no interference. Only when they need additional funds or anything, he comes to us and we go to the board and approve it, right? Similarly, we consider all our branch managers, and then we have product managers. For example, if it's Ethiopian Airlines, we have an all India sales manager for Ethiopian Airlines, who's the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines as far as we are concerned. And he has to operate, and he's answerable. All of them are answerable on what we have invested in the office, in the rents, in the salaries, and what is the return on that investment. Because basically, I'm a baniye ka beta. I want to have a return on every investment. And if it is not profitable, if I'm not getting the return, I'd rather close out that department.
Point taken.
When we have joined hands with a big giant who's already into the same space, but their way of handling things are different. So yes, it's a debatable, but yeah, it's challenging sometimes for me as well. I feel that pinch.
If you had to go back and change something, would you change something of that sort, or you think so?
I would correct. I give my I have a freedom to say honestly of what is going wrong or what is going right. So I give my opinion, and good part is that they listen as well.
So let me ask you one thing. Sorry, let me ask you a follow-up question. Let's say today XYZ agency receives an offer to get bought out by a Make My Trip Thomas Group of big boys. Given your experience, what is the advice you would give a travel agency that if you're getting an offer to buy out, what should you be aware of? What is the risk? How should you protect yourself?
Yeah, very, very, very valid point, which, keep your emotions aside and be very practical when you are negotiating on the table. And keep something for your own self so that you have space to, the way Naveen said that he sold it in 2013 and he bought it back himself in 2015. I think. So take very rational and be very practical on papers when you are negotiating with them. It's very, very important. I think it's very essential.
Can you keep your emotions away? It's very simple. Bolna asan hota hai. Sorry, I'm being very practical. Can you do that?
We have to be practical because they all when we have gone through it, me and Naveen, and when they come they show you all rosy pictures. I mean, they treat you like your son-in-law, and and you don't get carried away. This is what I can say. Don't get carried away and be very practical on papers of what exactly and stick to it, because if they are coming to you, means they have understood your potential.
I would say patience, resilience, spend time, mature like an aged wine. Yeah, spend time across the length and the breadth of the organization. Like many of my colleagues, senior leaders have mentioned that their children have started from the ticketing desk or early on. Don't rush into being the leader. Eventually, you are the COO, child of the owner. So eventually, you are going to be, if you desire to be the leader, you're going to be the owner of that organization. So that's my advice. Don't rush into it. Take your time, mature like an aged wine.
All right.
I would say there are two perspectives to it. One is that if you can scale it to a company like Stick Travels, then stick to it, put in yourself, apply yourself, and scale it to that level. And if you think at some point of time you cannot, then seek professional help. Go out there, look for partners, look for buyers, or look to get acquired and consolidate within and be a part of a bigger ecosystem. There's no two ways about it, because the landscape of the business in the next 2 years will be completely different. It'll be completely different. It will not be the same that's today. It wasn't the same when we started the business. And even for, I would say, even OTA companies, the entire landscape of the business is going to change in the next 2 years. We will be in the next 2-3 years in a different world. So if they do not think of either scaling it up and taking massive risks, organizing capital and raising it to a level, to the bar of like Mr. Suhash Goyal and Mr. Sani, to that level, fine. If not, then look for partners. That's what Rajan did. Rajan realized in COVID that I can't scale it further. So better look for partners, because you know what you've done. You created something. Get it. You must lead it to a place where it can still run and function. And when you are like one day sitting down and enjoying your matured wine, you can say, oh my God, my business is still functioning. And that's what I'm doing. I'm still very happy for what we did at Ebix, and that Ebix is still running very well and and it's a functionally correct company. So we are very happy as owners who sold to Ebix that okay, the company is still running and running professionally. So you have to decide. You want to remain very small then and then just say that okay, this is me. Otherwise, it's better either scale it up or get scaled up.
Either you're very small or you have to be big. There's nothing in middle. What you're saying.
You will not last. You will not make money now, because the landscape of business is going to change.
Let me ask you a question on this only. You've gone through the acquisition. You also acquired companies when you were in Ebix and all that. Any lessons that you want to give away to all the other small, medium-sized tour operators who are considering this now, who are getting offers, who are thinking of acquiring? What would you
see? It's a question which needs to be answered very differently. The reason is that all the travel people who are building companies or who built companies today have been, 80% of them have worked somewhere in a travel company before. In order to make a little extra buck and to be independent, they started their companies. The economical situation in India changed drastically over the last 15-20 years. We've seen our GDP growing and we've seen our consumption growing. Ultimately, travel is a consumption. So when we saw consumption growing, everybody got a little bit of a part of a cake to eat. So they're very happy, and everybody talks about turnover, profitability. They have to understand that this is not going to remain for a long time, because ultimately the technology is going to eat them up completely. Like Rajan would agree with me that the visa scene 5 years back was different, today it's different, and 2 years down the line, probably there won't be anything.
We'll keep our passport in museums.
It will be all.
So, it takes years to create or make a brand. And I feel when we are talking about financial losses and up and down, making profit, this is what I will tell the Gen Z to be very aware of your reputation, of what brand you are creating. And there need to be one word which I feel is adaptability. You need to adapt very quickly, because what Naveen just said, that it's a revolution which is happening in our industry, and we don't know after 6 months we might need that passport also or not. Our eyes and finger will become our passports. So we need to adapt very quickly. We need to understand this. We can't go back, no, we still have future on this. We need to adapt to the future. This is my...
So what's your company in the end? Last word will be yours. Start it up.
So I would say after this panel discussion, the succession will be now segregated in two parts. I feel a business succession by a business company will be segregated into a business deal. It will not be a succession, it's a business deal, it's a business plan. And succession to family is totally a different plan. And in that, if you ask me a question that whether they should scale up the company or should they keep it up that level, it's their individual choice. The person who's giving it to their family members or whoever they're giving succession to, they have to sit down and plan what they need to do. But I want to give advice over here, personal advice, whether they take it or not. The world is changing so fast. If you will not change with technology and the world very fast, that smaller company will be left behind, too far away to reach even the mid-sized companies or say small companies also. They'll vanish totally. So it is better to go with the change and then decide on what they want to do.
I think it's a very good question. We've also thought of it. I'll give you an example. One of the airlines we used to represent is Eastern Airlines. They were the largest airline in the world with about 500 aircraft. They became so big, they acquired People's Express. And after acquiring People's Express, they acquired another luxury airline. And within 3 years, they became bankrupt. Because what happens is that every company has, character and its own teams and their own egos. And when they merge, then there's a clash. Similar thing happened when Jet Airways bought, I think, Sahara. Same thing happened. You see, similarly, you have to, and I have seen a lot of this happening. I was afraid that, Indian Airline was making profit when the merger took place with Air India. And with the result, both Air India and Indian Airlines are at losses. And till today, there is a inside conflict between the seniorities, that these guys were junior.
Well, I agree.
What I am saying is, that is why I have not acquired any of the companies. That is one. Nor did I go into airline business, although a lot of bankers and a lot of investors had approached me. You see, today it's an age of specialization, right? computers are going to come in. In China, they have a hospital where you don't need any doctor. Everything is computerized, everything is artificial intelligence, and they are treating thousands of passengers without a doctor. But do you think that doctors will finish? No. Someone is needed to feed those. Similarly, all the medicines are there today on the net. The advantages, the disadvantages, everything is there. But still you go to a doctor. So what I'm saying is that in the service industry, whether it is the travel industry, whether it is the lawyers, whether it's the doctors, right? The personal element will always be there. But yes, I agree, only those pieces have survived who have adapted themselves to change. We have been constantly evolving and adapting. We started as student travel. Then we realized that this is a limited business. We went into Stick Travels Private Limited. Then Stick Travels Private Limited, we opened a ITA company, Travel People. Then we realized that there's a conflict in the GS. So what I'm saying is, no, just please let me complete. What I'm saying is that we have been evolving. Then we evolved into cruises. Tomorrow we can probably evolve into real estate. We don't know. But if we have to survive, then we have to plan 10 years ahead. And we have to do brainstorming with our team. And then we have to take up projects which the team has ownership of. If I as the chairman or I as the CEO decide, and the team who has to implement it, they don't get involved in the decision making process, then they will not be able to deliver. So whatever we do, and whether it's the travel business or any other business, I didn't get any training in any travel agency. I didn't do any ITA UFTA course, but I have been giving lectures to ITA, I have been giving lectures to Air India. So that is, you see, there are certain bases of business where you have to delegate authority, you have to also delegate responsibility. Similarly, there is something known as teamwork, and you have to follow that teamwork principles. And then there is evolution. And if you are not going to evolve yourself, you will not survive.
So am I correct if I were to say that all companies who have children who want to take over kind of situation can only grow to a certain extent or should not grow beyond that?
No, I don't agree.
Then
I don't agree.
Self-growth can only take
there are
to a limit.
a lot of companies. Let us take Mercedes. It's one of the biggest companies in the world. It's a proprietorship, family-owned company. So you have to professionalize. It is not necessary that you have to go to the public and collect funds. You should only collect funds if you need some funds for growth. A lot of pressure is on us for going public. We are not interested. So what I'm saying is that whatever you do in life, you have to professionalize. You have to, like they specialized in visas. Similarly, there are doctors who specialize in oncology or cancer, you may call it. They are specialized in neurosurgery. So whatever may happen with the computers or artificial intelligence, for the expert advice, you have to go to the expert. So my personal feeling is that yes, it is not necessary that only when you go public or you sell the company or you have outside investors, will you grow. If you are professionalized and if you have professional people, not necessarily your a family.
So ultimately, sir, for all companies, what you're saying is have to become professional.
Yes.
To a great extent.
No.
And
professionalized 100%.
100% professional.
Without professionalism, it will not work.
And either you become small and remain in the service, or you become bigger. That's what the future is going
Without
to be.
professionalism, it's not going to work.
So that's both your example of both Naveen and...
Whether you are a public limited, private limited, you are a multinational. And I always believe that an Indian company should become a multinational, like Dabur's is. We are proud of it. Like Haldiram has become.
Gaurav, that's
Yeah.
something good for you. So
Yeah.
your tribe
can I
will
get a minute?
definitely go ahead. Yeah, please.
So the question that you asked, and it's I think for the industry, I'm answering it, and because we owe a lot to this industry. What you are a question to Mr. Subhash Goyal that why don't you acquire companies? And he said he gave an example of a company airline that got acquired and went bankrupt. But I tell you, Mr. Goyal, you have a responsibility because you've given this industry a lot of your good time. You built a large company. India today requires leaders like you to come forward, go to public, seek public money as investments, and then buy companies and create an ecosystem, because Indian travel business, Indian travel companies need consolidation. You've been a IATO president several times. You've done so much. You've been a voice for the inbound industry, but today you know what's happening to the inbound industry, right? I think it's important, it is about time that leaders like you come forward and start acquiring inbound companies and create large companies. Look at what's happening in the UK and the US and the Australia and the New Zealand. And you just said, how many travel, we've seen Conies and the TUIs and the Ibixes and the Blackstones coming to India.
I'll go a step forward.
One small thing. Why we need to take Indian companies overseas and acquire companies? So it's a responsibility to sometimes I would say that it's a responsibility to the industry. Like I am looking at acquiring companies now, in a very in my own way.
We're all talking about professionalism. It's a very big, very open, very vague. Charter your next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Write your objectives, write your goals. And do that well in advance. Do that with utmost professionalism. When I say professionalism, professionalism does not necessarily mean that you have to hire 4 or 5 outside leaders, but professionalism is giving structure. Is embracing a method to your growth, to your execution. That's what we mean by professionalism.
I would say महीने मत करो. You're saying महीने का महीने, साल का साल मत करो. 5-year, 10-year plan लिखो.
Yeah, I mean, think about what you're going to do 4 years and like like Naveen mentioned, the world is in 2 years' time. The world is going to be very different. In 2 years' time, the visa business is going to be completely different. And that was one of my sentences also, with all the digitization happening and with the the Emirates, etc. We were reading, the airports are accepting biometrics and no passports, etc. I think we're in a sky. It feels like travel is a sci-fi business.
You don't even have to scan the passport.
Yeah.
They just scan your face and.
So,
I just want to add one more point. I have seen in my 30 years of this journey, I have seen 3 or 4 individual entrepreneurs either buying or selling, and I've witnessed that very, very closely. And every time I've observed some sort of heartburn or heart pain or resentment, at times a lot of happiness and enthusiasm as well. Choose your partner wisely. Like everybody said, your brand, your legacy, your business that you've created has a character, has a DNA, and you want to partner with somebody who should resonate the same values. If you do that, your path to success, even that success means exit in a couple of years, your path to that exit will be fulfilling, and not with resentment.
Sorry, really out of town now.
So one thing I just got present, every top player of the world needs a coach, and every coach can't create a good player like what he has created. Then Tendulkar's coach may not be well good with others. So every company which is being succession is happening, they have got to see that whoever is going to take the succession is what are they capable of, what they can do, and it's all individual decision at that level. It can't be one formula.
Thank you to all of you, and really for your time and everything. And the good part is that you all said that okay, if you want to grow and you want to become professional, but I like to add what you just said, Gaurav, also, but everything, be very clear what your goal is. What do you want out of professionalism? Do you want money? Do you want to control? Do you want the publicity? Do you want the celebration status? You need to be very clear and then demark that and then decide the way forward which is going to go.
Brand legacy and livelihood
So,
are 2 separate lines.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.